Hello students, so we're in week 5 and in this week's practice forum we're going to talk about thesis statements. So what exactly is a thesis statement? So a thesis statement is the main idea or conclusion of a paper. The one thing you as the writer want your audience to know when they have finished reading. Your thesis statement is both the target and destination for everything that is included in the paper. Each paragraph should work toward either explaining or defending the thesis. So basically your thesis statement is the main idea of your paper, and your thesis statement is one sentence that's placed at the end of your first paragraph. And so your thesis statement formula should include the what, in other words, what is the topic of what you're talking about, and then the why. Why is that topic important? So two things, what and why. And so when writing a thesis statement, include two things, what and why. The what explains what a paper is going to discuss, argue, or conclude. This part of the thesis should be specific. The why explains why this topic is significant, why the idea is being discussed, argued, or concluded matters in the long run. Below are a few examples of theses that both explain what and why. So here it is for a research paper. Bilingual education should be reintegrated into the school system. So this is the topic that states the what, and the bilingual education is the topic, should be reintegrated into the public school system is opinion. And so topic plus opinion makes the what portion of your thesis statement. Then you got to have your reasons, because. So why should bilingual education be put into the public school system? Because bilingual education helps English language learners better master state objectives and integrate into a new culture. And that would be why. So you always have to have your what and your why in a research paper, in a thesis statement. In a literary paper, in their eyes were watching God. The image of the pear tree represents Janie's vision of marriage and romantic love, an image that resurfaces in the text whenever her achievement of this idea seems most hopeless. So that's the what. In other words, what is the topic of your paper? Then you're going to have your because, the why. Because of where it is placed, this image is a catalyst in the text, prompting Janie and her readers to continue pursuing the idea of true and fulfilling love. Why? So here you have a good thesis statement with a what and a why. For a scientific paper, you would say the purpose of this paper is to analyze the correlation between hyperactivity and caffeine intake in rats over a 5-month period, revealing that high levels of caffeine may result in rising heart rate, uncontrollable twitching, and lack of focus on specific tasks. That is your what. Then your why. Results will then be compared with existing correlative research to substantiate health implications and suggest potentials for further research. That becomes the why. So remember that each thesis statement needs to have a what and a why. For a religious paper, you would have you need your what and your why, as seen by a structural, historical, cultural, and textual analysis. The Luke 16, 1-13 periscope on Jesus' parable of the unjust steward is about the importance of investing financial resources in a way that yields eternal reward. In its larger context, this periscope implies that giving money to help the poor is one such investment. So this is the what. In other words, giving money to the poor yields eternal reward. Then why? Compelling believers to be generous and sacrificial with the resources God provides while still on earth. Therefore, another reason of the why is to promote good behavior among mortals so that they're not so selfish. So in other words, compelling believers to be generous. So here in a religious paper, you have your what and your why. And so in an ethics paper, so remember that the what is your topic and your opinion. Your why is your reasons. And it's under the reasons why that becomes your body paragraphs. So here you would have, based on the implication and applications of state regulations for single parent adoption, it becomes clear that the current legislation is inadequate from a utilitarian, deontological, and virtue ethic lens because it fails to adequately address the needs of the growing foster child population. So that is the what. Then the why. By revising the current legislation to eliminate some of the red tape for single parent adoptions, the state can better equip single parents to help alleviate this need. Why? So always a good thesis statement has a what and a why. If a thesis statement only has the what, for example, if I just simply say, a gun control is necessary, and I stop right there, that is an ineffective thesis statement. However, if I say gun control is necessary because gun control can keep guns out of the hands of mentally ill people, gun control can keep guns out of the hands of minors, and gun control can reduce crime and school shootings. So here you have gun control is necessary, the what, and then the why, because it can reduce crime, it can keep the guns out of the wrong people's hands. So once you have a what and a why, that's what makes an effective thesis statement. And so some of you are still having trouble writing an effective thesis statement, but once you know how to write an effective thesis statement, you then are able to narrow your topic. And so some of you have topics that are way too broad because you have not mastered how to write an effective thesis statement. And also, once you have an effective thesis statement, your thesis statement acts as a roadmap for your entire paper. Thus, you won't be writing off topic, and you will have your ideas easily organized so that your reader can easily figure out what your message is. So if you have any questions about how to write a thesis statement, you can always email me.